When does chest day begin?
Chest day will begin immediately upon this interview's conclusion.
Well, I guess it is chest day right now.
It is. Friday being chest day, my entire programming is discombobulated, as you could see, because yesterday we were going to film a leg workout, usually leg days Thursday, shoulder days Friday, but because of scheduling conflicts, I had to move leg day to Monday. Then we had a back day yesterday.
A hell of a back
which
day.
will be on your YouTube channel very shortly.
This is a great little like precursor to that. It's a little teaser
it's like
to what's coming.
Because we're such, Hollywood artists that we've filmed out of order.
That's it.
But yeah, we had a great back day. Then you had to go do arms with Killer Cross.
Which also is we're teasing that workout that's going to be coming to the YouTube channel too.
And then, so yes, chest day, normally not on a Friday, will be this Friday immediately upon completion of this interview and cordial goodbyes.
Does everything else in your life have this much structure, or just your
one,
workout and eating?
If my business had this structure, if the narrative had this structure, if my personal finances had this structure, if my life had this structure, I would probably be a lot less psychotic. But no, only my eating and training has this structure.
Why don't you take some of this and pepper it into the other things in your life?
Because all those other things, I feel like the universe puts me in the position it needs to be, and it'll all work itself out. As long as I work out on time, I don't care what happens during the day.
I drank 2 pre-workouts yesterday.
You did. One was Berserk from Black Magic Supply, promo code EC320.
Oh, no.
The other was, I
Promo code
believe,
EC3.
Chemix from the Gorilla Chemist, and that promo code, I believe, is just EC3. And you preferred Berserk, if I recall.
It was a better flavor for me.
It's delicious.
I saw a Billy Gunn pre-workout right here.
Well, I guess you don't remember because yesterday during our back day, I mentioned the story.
You mentioned it, but the video hasn't come out yet, so we're...
Yes, do you want to see it?
I'll pull it
bring
over here.
Yes. All sorts of...
Look how jacked he is.
He's so jacked. He's so tall. Gunpowder. Like
Billy Gunpowder.
that too, but I think being in the supplement game, the whole aspect is like, what's fun about it is naming your
Branding,
supplements
right?
crazy shit.
Yes.
Gunpowder. How do you not take gunpowder?
Promotes maximum strength, enhanced energy, and focus.
Can we see the ingredients?
Yeah, I'm trying to see how much caffeine is in here.
I believe it's 350. Oh, 450.
Well, that's
no, that's the
between
energy
everything.
blend. Okay.
Yeah.
So I believe I did ask him, and he
This
said
is getting
300.
very nerdy now.
A lot of citrulline. That's good. What else?
Where's the beta alanine?
I don't think it has beta alanine.
But that's what I want the tingles.
Well, if you want beta alanine straight, go to bulksupplements.com using promo code EC3, and they do separate all their ingredients. So, like in theory, the perfect pre-workout you want, you can make yourself with just the ingredients.
Have we ruined the shot now by getting too close together?
I doubt it.
Okay, all right. But thank you for inviting me to the gym. That was a great workout.
That was a great
Everyone
workout.
is going to love that. Why is your eye still black? What's happened here?
I was punched in the face. Was it by a man or was it by life? You decide.
So what happened to leg day? Because you said like everything got messed up because you almost died.
Well, in theory, we were coming off of our very first live event, huge success, amazing time. But the next day, we had a pre-production and we had a narrative seminar that took a lot out of us mentally because it's such a bonding experience between ourselves and the talent we bring in. The following day, we had our very first shoot with Pro Wrestling TV at Pro WTV for Free the Narrative 3, and there's a lot of responsibility and burdens on us, especially when you're performing, you're producing, you're kind of responsible for a lot of the things going on, and you have a great team around you, but you're like, mentally make sure you need to be a part of everything because you're just a neurotic overseer of things.
Right.
And so from like the exhaustion, plus we're fighting a fake culture war the whole entire week before, that so much happened with exhaustion and mental and physical. And then
You're talking about the comments online.
No, stuff like that, but like the physicality and then training leading up to it to like look super fucking jacked and ripped. But yeah, by the end of it, I was laying in bed after a very successful day and a very great day and a day that's going to send us off into the future. And I kind of like had a moment in my bed where I felt like I was almost dying.
And so you said, you know what? Probably shouldn't do leg day.
No, I was like, I'm going to have to move leg day by at least 3 days. And then therefore I did. What I did do is I finally took 2 to 3 days off completely. And I ate like a pig. Still was. Then I felt worse because I was eating like a pig, so that didn't help me. And then trying to segue back within what we call a deload in training. So then I had to deload legs first, yada, yada. And then it's Monday. Something else happened with new programming from my mobility coach where I didn't want to intertwine my new clean and jerk routine with back day on the same day. So I had to move leg day to Monday, leg day aesthetic Monday, which was Monday morning. Therefore, Thursday morning would have been leg day aesthetic day with you and I at the dump probably, but it got discombobulated and here we are. And
This is like that scene in The Hangover when Zach Galifianakis is seeing all the numbers in front of him.
I feel like Charlie Day sitting at the board smoking a cigarette.
That's
like,
you.
That's my training regimen here.
By the way, happy birthday. Oh my gosh,
Thank you.
today.
Yes, birthdays aren't real though. The only birthday you have. The only birthday you have is the day you were born. Each and every day after that is just a day for you to find out who you truly are.
It's a celebration of your birth.
You only celebrate one. It is a celebration.
You didn't celebrate it the first time it happened. You don't remember?
I came screaming in the world saying,
you
"Hey,
remember that?
Mom."
You definitely didn't say, "Hey, Mom."
Vividly, I'm like, get this umbilical cord the hell off me. Throw that placenta on ice. Let's go. It's leg day.
You saved the placenta? Very nice. It's very forward
I
thinking
don't
of
want
you.
to talk about my mom's innards, man.
Would you? And that we're going to go way off on a tangent here. But do you remember what your first memory was?
Yes, I do. My first memory was my very first surgery when I was 3 years old. I had a bleeding ulcer. And the very first memory I have is them pulling staples out of my stomach when I was coming off of anesthesia. Like my very first memory is the most excruciating pain I've ever been in.
Wow. Without this turning into a therapy session, this may explain,
A lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here we are.
This may explain how you've. I
like remember the lights too. And I remember they put a cartoon on to distract me. But I couldn't be distracted because they're pulling metal out of my body.
But you were like, there was some sort of anesthesia, right? So you're
I
not
feel like I was
feeling
coming
the
off of
pain.
it. Yeah. I was coming off of it and feeling the pain.
Well, with all of that said, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday. Where are we, by the way? People are going to look at this. They're going to see that we're in the Rant room right
Yes,
now.
we are live in the Rant room here at Control Your Narrative headquarters, a.k.a. Justified Prints. If you ever need your T-shirt made, go to justifiedprints.com. We make your dreams wearable. And at justified_prints on Instagram. But we're almost too busy to do that job. It's kind of, dare I say, the soap creation in Fight Club. This is Justified Prints is sort of our front for our nefarious side business, which is Control Your Narrative.
There's been a lot of comparisons between what you guys are doing and Fight Club.
Yeah,
Do you think those are justified?
Absolutely, because we stole a lot of ideas from it. No doubt about it. Well, and then, there was one comment actually recently. Somebody should tell EC3 that Fight Club is parody and he's not really Tyler Durden. And I said, Fight Club is satire.
Yeah.
And tell EC3 he's not really Tyler Durden. And I said, professional wrestling is satire. So you're making my point. I'm aware. In fact, I'm so self-aware, I can handle any of your grueling questions.
What about like if someone were to come in here? Explain what the Rant room is, because it's a fascinating idea that I think a lot of people went, they're really going to do that?
Yeah, I'm a man of my word. The Rant room originated because it sounds cool in my mind. And in our first feature, Free the Narrative, I always thought that if I was creating this army of men, that there would be this therapeutic room where there would be a camera on and they would walk in. It's almost like a confessional from a reality show. But they walk into the rant room and they just rant and they get it out. Like whatever I got to say, I'm going to say now. And I know Brandon over there yesterday was telling me he needs 3 minutes in the rant room. I'd love to grant it to him. So it started as that. But then it became a thing where I'm watching, social media, Twitter especially, that, secret identities, people are eggs, people are not their true selves, making all these like horrific and horrible statements to people I know. Like, if you make them to me, that's cool, I can handle it, I don't care. Nothing you can say can hurt me. But to people I know and I'm associated with and that have the best intentions and they're the purest souls, these horrible things being said about them that I just know nobody would ever say that to their face. It's the proverbial hide behind the keyboard.
Keyboard warrior.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So In essence, maybe I rage tweeted a little bit, but I initiated the Rant Room as part of our VIP package, where if you pay $100, you get a meet and greet with Adam Scherr and EC3, early access to all the CYN wrestlers, but also if you choose 3 minutes in the Rant Room with your chosen wrestler where you can say anything you want to their face and they can do nothing about it. Now, the reason it was probably negatively received is because they thought I was using the Rant Room to get their money, which I am. But I'll tell you what, if you want the Rant Room and you don't want to pay a cent, I'll give it to you too, because you were not going to do it because you are cowards. You do not have the courage to say these things to people's faces. Having said that, the Rant Room was real in Orlando and it was utilized.
Who was in there?
Well, a fan came to the VIP. He asked me, "Is the Rant Room real?" And I said, "Absolutely." And he said, "I'd like to talk to Austin Aries." And I said, "Shit." Okay. Okay. I don't know if he's here yet. So I go to the back. I go, I know he's there. The one problem with the Rant Room is I should have, I meant it for me directly, but then bringing other people into my insanity wasn't the best choice. But those that support it were behind it. So, Austin, you have a request for the Rant Room? And he says, "Okay." So I find the guy. I go, "Ready?" And he says, "Yeah." And so I grab him.
Okay.
And Austin comes in, and there's this electrical closet with the Rant Rooms written on the door. I bring the two in there, and for 3 minutes that I stood there, this fan proceeded to do nothing but talk about how good of a wrestler Austin Aries is and how much he respects him. And I'll tell you, it's the tin roof, so they serve food. There's forks, spoons. There's knives in this Rant Room. And for 3 minutes, this fan, bless him, talks about to Austin, to his face, how cool he is, how much he respects him, how much he likes him. But I know he wants to get to what he really wants to say because he's going, I just wish you'd. And then Austin finally, "You just wish I'd what?" And he goes, I just wish you'd stop tweeting your opinion so much. And Austin goes, "Why? It's mine." And the fan really had no justification, answer to it. And then I'm like, "I think this is good. I have other things to do. Can I leave?" And Austin's like, "Yeah, it's fine." But what I learned is that face-to-face, proper discourse, discussion, different opinions, different objections, different lives can find common ground. They can find peace. And maybe peace is what the Rant Room is for.
Well, the interesting thing is anyone can say anything when they're hiding behind a keyboard, hiding
Easily.
behind a username.
I had a great line. "Ditch the keyboard and let it rip." I thought that was clever.
That's pretty great. Yeah. I think the people don't realize when they're typing it out and they're putting it out into the world that, number one, I don't think people realize that other people can consume this. And maybe the person who you intended this tweet for is going to actually read that and even respond to that.
Yeah. I vividly remember one, I've seen and heard a lot of crazy shit thrown my way, and none of it really bothers me, but one stood out where one nice young lady, I'm sure, told me, "You're a depressive meathead and I hope you kill yourself." And I'm like, ow!
That's really mean. Could you imagine if you had said that to her? Not about the meathead part, but
I would never say that to another human being because I'm too busy succeeding and fighting for things that matter. I've never met one person who has trash talked an athlete, an entertainer, a professional wrestler, a politician, who's ever done anything good, true, or worth doing in their lives. I just don't think that exists.
Is the Rant Room going to be in Dallas?
Absolutely.
WrestleMania week?
Absolutely. And for $100, you can rant it whoever you want. Not true. For $100, you can have the VIP meet and greet. If you want the Rant Room, I'm going to clear it with the person you want to rant with or at. And if they accept, they have
So
that
wait,
choice.
it's not an extra amount? It's just $100 for the meet and greet?
Yeah.
And then if you want the Rant Room, it's just like...
And I will open
That should be an extra thing.
You know what? I'll tell
WrestleMania
you.
week.
Yeah. I'll open it up to GAs. I'll open
Then
it
they
up.
pay the $100?
No, they
Wow.
can pay the...
There's going to be a line now.
$25. We'll see. I doubt it.
I don't know.
There are nobody
If
is
this
going
was
to talk to someone's
if
face.
WrestleMania was in New Orleans, it'd be a completely different thing.
Yeah, but these
people
would
would
be
be
people
coming
just-
from Bourbon Street.
Yeah, they'd be like, let me tell
Yeah.
you why you suck.
Yeah.
And be like, well, I know why I suck, but let's hear it. What do you got?
When you announced that Austin Aries was part of Control Your Narrative,
Yeah.
I think people got really upset.
A small vocal minority did. But then our
He was
ticket
trending
sales-
on Twitter.
He's trending on Twitter without even tweeting. That's publicity you can't buy.
That's true.
Mr. What is he? Arts and Culture?
Mr.
Arts and Culture. Yeah, but you know,
People have very strong opinions about Austin Aries. And I know
that's
this
okay.
because he was on my show and people had very strong opinions about me even giving him the platform to speak on my show.
that's what I don't get is how do you know what someone thinks, feels, or even truly says if you don't hear what they think or understand what they feel or where it's coming from or actually listen within context to what is truly being said.
So what was your idea behind bringing him into the project?
Mostly, he reached out prior to us even announcing that we are becoming a real, promotion in a sense, or we have television, or we're running a series of live events, or we're really growing at a rapid rate. Before all of that, he just said, I dig what you're doing, and I'd love to be a part of it one day. And I'm like, here's a guy, former world champion, one of the best wrestlers in the world, who went away for a long time. When he went away, it was on a personal journey of discovery. It wasn't because he was blackballed. Like, he just had to get away. And, like, that's a story worth telling, and that's a story worth hearing, I think. So he reached out, and then we had a very intricate phone call with him, my partner, JC, the narrator, and I, and we were like, we're feeling this. This feels good. Let's look at the downs. Okay, he's controversial. He has opinions, but there's nothing cancelable. So he has his opinions. What we're fighting against is, the perception of somebody based on what you don't know anyways. So it seemed logical. It seemed in a sense safe. Plus, if I'm inheriting a world champion in the ring, here's a guy that when we're bringing up the next generation of talent to think differently, work differently, act differently, truly be able to encompass what we think this industry is, he's a great guy to do it because he's so good. And he's a leader. He's a locker room leader. He's a leader in his own life. And I respect that. Do I agree with him on things? I don't know. Probably not. But I can have discourse and I can have discussion and I can live happily knowing that maybe we don't see eye to eye on certain things, but we do have the same vision for what this industry could be.
I think that people went, EC3 is attaching his name to Austin Aries. Therefore, he must agree with everything that Austin Aries stands for. And they're kind of lumped you together.
That's a terrible mindset. And that's, I think, what the problem is with society and culture here. You're either one thing or the other.
It's very interesting. It's this team or this team.
But that's not true at all.
No, and these teams are now against each other.
But the majority of people are on neither team, and they're in the middle going, you suck, you're nuts.
Yeah.
So whatever. But then at the same time, announcing Austin Aries, unbeknownst to us, at the exact same time we announced Austin Aries, a vicious, horrific, terribly unfounded, untrue, completely asinine, created by somebody who's probably out to destroy us, rumor arrives on Reddit, and people believe it. So it was almost a perfect storm of, this makes 2 and 2 together. That's who they are. Yeah.
What did you do to combat that?
I did an interview dispelling each and every facet of it, and then because I offended so many people, I was deplatformed from that thing where I would have an interview. And
What were you deplatformed from?
Well, because apparently I said a number that has some sort of racism ties that I'm so unracist I didn't know existed in saying just a number. So immediately people assumed that.
So where have you been deplatformed from?
Well, nowhere specifically. Fightful I was doing a weekly interview with Fightful to kind of build up how it would, with Sean Ross Sapp. I was doing, because what we're doing so interesting and unique, we're an unfunded, completely independent sort of group trying to jump into the wrestling fray with no corporate backing whatsoever, no, financial income. We're really putting our all into something unique and organic and hoping to see it grow. So I thought it'd be a cool story for Fightful to document the week by week of this leading up to our show in Dallas.
Yeah.
And that keeps us in the news cycle. And we were doing it. It was cool. And then like, wow, you really got a real story now because this is happening and this is happening. But then I said a number, and it wasn't that people took it the wrong way, because if you watch it within the context, it's obvious I don't know what I'm saying. The interviewer states he obviously doesn't know what he's saying, but the way people report it is that I said it with all the intent in the world, because that's what I would do is like
Because people just read the headline. They don't actually like watch the interview.
But I'm almost glad that happened, because context is so important, and context is what's lost. And if I have to die on the sword that the people that are in the middle who say, you suck and you're insane, are seeing how this infiltrates their news and people's opinions, maybe it awakens them to the fact that they are being lied to and manipulated so they can be therefore controlled. And the fact is happening in something so insignificant as pro wrestling. Imagine what's going on in real life.
So what is control your narrative for people who may be hearing about this now for the first time?
To control your narrative is to tell your story. That is my intent for it. But we ask everybody what it means to them, and we always get unique and different responses. What does control your narrative mean to you?
Well, I'll get to that in one sec. I think it stemmed from the idea that in WWE, you didn't have the opportunity to control your own narrative.
And that's very simple, but at the same time, did I not take the opportunities necessary to control my narrative and stand for what I believed in, whether or not it would lead to my termination, downfall, or release anyways? Did I try to play it safe too much? Did I hide behind the fact everybody else feels the same way and it's a group think and it's a toxic group think that nothing matters? Did I fall in line with that and not control my narrative enough to, look, I might get fired, but should I have just burst my way into Vince's door and tell him, here's why you suck and I'm awesome? Maybe. So like I take full accountability.
But you're making a good amount of money. You've got exposure on TV. When you're booked on TV, it's like, do I really want to compromise that?
You don't really.
Yeah.
Until you don't, but you kind of do. And it just depends. Do you have the guts and the courage to? And at the time I didn't, because where was I? I was in a...
You were a mute.
Yeah, I was in a mute, concussed, out of action, brain hurt, like bad place mentally because of this. World burns in front of us with a pandemic and a shutdown and a lockdown. Like I'm sitting there.
Yeah, you were released 1 month into the pandemic.
But even into that month, that was a time where people were trying to get released and they wouldn't let anyone go, and they were trying to make their big stands on social media like, I asked for a release and they didn't give it to me. And like, oh, you poor bastard, shut up. Shut up. Stop complaining on social media, wrestlers. You suck. Stop. Anyways, but I'm in that position. All right, I'm making good money. I have a family whose business is suffering because of these lockdowns and these shutdowns. I need to make sure I can take care of them. We're starting a new business here. I need to make sure I can take care of this and our employees. Like, I can't give up that, even though every day I'm more and more miserable. And then it happened, and I was completely relieved because I didn't have to make the decision. The universe made it for me.
And I've said this to you before, but it's just so crazy to me that former Impact Wrestling World Champion, you had such a great run there, and then you go to WWE, and it's like they don't know what to do with you.
Yeah, NXT was cool for a little bit, but I was never meant for the NXT. It was more like, where are we going to find something for him? And then when we were called up, it was very rash and unplanned and unpurposeful. So you think, well, that's okay. I'll make the most of it. Like our vignettes were shot. Back in the day, vignettes were shot with intent and purpose. And
yeah.
But was called up in a mass group, and we're shooting our vignettes in our homes and stuff. And I'm like, this doesn't feel like this is destined for whatever. And then, I'm a mute when I'm fairly capable of speaking out loud. But
it's pretty clear that the people there had never seen your work in Impact Wrestling, perhaps.
Well, the people there that brought me in and knew me, the agents and were friends and fans of my work did, but they also did not step up and say, because one man's opinion's the rule of law there, that, hey, no, don't make him a mute. He's good at talking. You could probably get a lot of booze, and then people will pay money to see him get beat up.
It seems, though, that if you have success elsewhere, they don't want you to also have success in WWE.
I don't know.
It's really hard to think of someone who was super successful in Impact. Ring of Honor, obviously, there were many examples of people who were successful in Ring of Honor, but not a lot of people who were successful in Impact Wrestling other than AJ Styles.
Yeah, is that it? And
Samoa
to an
Joe.
extent.
But those are also Ring of Honor guys, though.
Yeah. I don't know if we're reading too much into where they came from, because I don't think Impact was ever even on Vince's radar, where he's like, I'm going to buy them and destroy them. But I do think that it's one man's opinion and it's made immediately, and unless you do something to change that, it doesn't matter what you do, because it'll never happen for you. Because everybody, again, unlike me, well, I was at the time, but job scared, trying to hold on to their job and their position, and aren't going to
and pay a mortgage and pay a car payment.
Yeah. Pay for their 3 illegitimate
Real
kids.
life,
Whatever.
Oh, 3 of them, wow.
I have 6, so.
EC 4, 5, and 6?
They're bastards.
I will answer your question now. What does it mean to me to control your narrative? And I think it's the idea of living life on your own terms. And I define success as being excited for what you're going to do that day, and then being proud of what you've done at the end of your day. That's it for me.
Were you proud of your day yesterday?
Damn right.
You should have been.
In fact, I said that to Zeus.
Yeah,
when we got back to the hotel.
Baller workouts, traveled across the country.
Yeah.
Hanging and banging, rock and rolling. Got some green beer, right? Did you?
No, we did drink old fashions last night.
See?
Yeah.
You'll see it on the YouTube video, but he's asking me about drinking beer, and I go on a rant about how beer is estrogen, beer is soy, beer makes men weak. Like, if you're going to be a man, drink straight whiskey or tequila.
So we had some whiskey.
And you're a man.
Yeah.
And happy with your day. And I think that's
every day, though. That's every day, though.
That's a great day. And then Control Your Narrative really was started as my partner, the narrator, and I brainstorming on like creating a character and how can we do this within 90 days from post WWE, even though this is something I was pitching to WWE at the time. But upon release, the day I was released is the same day I filmed this vignette where I show up with a shaved head and this promo that eventually aired on my socials, and we'll probably start reusing our stuff. But the same day I filmed that was the same day I was released, which again is the universe speaking in strange terms. But then taking that, and we have 90 days, like, let's make something creatively unimpeded and see how we feel about it. And very successful and very happy with what we did. For me personally, how fulfilling it was to be able to create on my own terms who I envision this person would be or become based on his past. But also, it was so self-fulfilling because being creative, no matter how much money you make, unless you're creatively satisfied, you're never satisfied.
Yeah.
Making zero money, but super creatively satisfied that we wanted to bring that opportunity to other talents.
So you put that together in 90 days. Yeah. It was, doesn't feel right to call it the cinematic style of matches, but
no.
It was during that time when you couldn't have crowds.
Yeah.
So now you're doing these shows in front of crowds. Is that the plan moving forward?
The plan moving forward is to have sanctioned and then filmed for TV live matches, but
weekly, monthly.
We're looking at it like this. We're going to release the third narrative feature to kind of put an end cap to what we started.
Okay.
And then we're going
You
to...
like doing things in threes.
It's weird, right? Yeah. It's a good number. It's a universal number, I think. I don't know. It's in my name.
Okay, so you're going to do a third one.
Yes, and upon that's releasing, we will then therefore look to create within that style, but we'll uniquely brand it with our new partner, other creative minds, new talents, and sort of create a seasonal aspect that would be about an 8 to 10 episode run leading into one giant show where the payoff is the story you've watched unfold over television. Upon that show taking place, we will then more than likely be on the road 6 whole weeks, touring, filming for what would then become sort of a more live show in front of human beings, and more traditional in a sense, but then introducing new people, new concepts, new stories, new characters. From there, maybe take a week off and then restart the process until we're billionaires.
Billionaires.
Why not?
I want to ask you a very broad question. I'm just interested to see what your response is to it. What are your general thoughts on pro wrestling right now?
I don't like it. It doesn't engage me. I can't watch it.
Like you famously, infamously perhaps said that pro wrestling was killed for you when Goldberg beat the Fiend.
It did because I know Wyndham very well, and he's a super creative mind, and I know how much he put into creating that character and that whole, like you can tell when it was him, especially when it started. I'm like, this is so outside the box. This is so impressive. This is so not WWE. This is a one man's vision being relayed, out in real life with that platform, and it caught on like wildfire. Like everyone was into it.
Yeah.
And then it slowly, you could see, oh, this is popular. You can sort of see people starting to get involved in it, and then it's kind of diluting. But watching him create that leading up to WrestleMania, where he created an unbeatable monster killer that, if gets beaten on a grand stage, means everything for the person that beat him, the story that was told upwards to it.
Yeah,
But
like
then,
that Hell in a Cell match with Seth Rollins.
yeah,
where they
why
just
was it
stopped
red?
the
I still
match.
don't know. Like, it's so red, I couldn't concentrate.
Very red.
Didn't like that. But watching him put his heart and soul into something, and then someone just going, it's over, like that, and flipping the switch on it, even though it's working. And well, what are we gonna do? I don't know. Have Goldberg beat him in 3 minutes.
Do you think he purposely sandbagged that jackhammer?
I don't think he's a pro. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't remember it very well.
It just ended
No.
up being like a snap suplex.
That sucks. I was too busy going. I think because at that point I was doing this. Because the spirit. I'm like, all right, I know what's gonna happen here. It just sucked to watch because at that moment I knew no matter what I would do, what I can create, whatever I saw myself as and put out there, it would never matter, because if this didn't work, then what's going to? Because it was so good and original.
Do you think that what you're going to do moving forward in your life, in your career, 5, 10, 20, 30 years from now is always going to be tied back somehow into wrestling?
Well, 30 years, world will be over, so I don't have to worry about that.
Wow, really?
Well, yeah, if you would, like, there's some clock and it's supposed to end at 2040, so.
Yeah, I saw Joe Rogan put that out recently.
Is that what Joe did?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there's EC3 quoting Joe Rogan. Oh, crazy Bernie Sanders supporter. What a right-wing zealot. Like, shut up. What are you talking about? Guy has opinions, and he gets people different opinions on the show, and they talk about it. Big fucking deal. Anyways, 20 years, maybe, well, creating within the realm, I think, would be great, but branching out of it as well. If we create something, which the goal is, and we state it in a lot of our propaganda and our pieces, create something that will last, there will always be a tie to it. But then we'll probably also know in 20 years, like I'm late 50s, I should, I don't know what's cool anymore, but like hopefully I've molded enough minds that are independent thinkers that have become creative and looked outside the wrestling bubble, I call it, and have the mindset to carry forward something unique and different. Yeah, that would be the goal.
Did you?
Then I'll chime in. I'll show up in my private jet.
Private? Oh, yeah, because you'll be a billionaire.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's the billionaire walk. That's
Apparently,
billionaire
yeah. Oh, man, let's see. What do you got for today? Nope. All right. Dog shit. Horrible. Absolute worst. This sucks. Oh my God, who's watching this? 3 hours of this? You're kidding me. No more. I can't take it. This sucks.
Sounds like you don't watch a lot of Raw or SmackDown.
No, I like to watch things I enjoy. It's not that. I love the talent. The talent works, super hard when they're not complacent. It's just, I know what it could be, and I know what attracted me to it from childhood to teens to 20s to pursue it as a life to still this day, and I don't see it often.
Do you see it in AEW?
No, not really. I see a lot of complacency in the same moves, and then well, how can you make moves mean something again? Because they don't mean anything. In one fell swoop, one little purposefully misspelled Instagram post, I made 3 moves that are so overused, so oversaturated, so watered down, mean everything by just banning them. Think outside the box, do something different, or creatively do them in a way where maybe a referee doesn't see him. maybe they lead to disqualifications. I don't know. Making them mean something means they're an asset to tell stories, derive emotion, create moments, which is what this industry is about. So I don't see it
So it was the super kick?
the super kick, the tope suicida, and the Canadian destroyer. So I'm not saying you can't jump over the top rope. You can plancha, you can pescada. I'm not saying you can't moonsault to the outside. I'm not saying you can't lionsault or quadrubrate a moonsault. I'm not saying you can't flip dive. I'm not saying you can't cannonball dive. I'm not saying you can't do a 720 whatever twist. I'm not saying you can't do a Phoenix fucking splash. All I'm saying is stop going through the fucking middle rope, okay? Everybody does it. It's not cool if everybody does it. That's all.
I feel for Petey Williams and the Canadian Destroyer.
I'll tell you what. The plan I have for Petey Williams, if we ever get the chance to work together, the end conclusion is going to have the roof explode.
I feel for
Petey,
him.
I do owe you a podcast. I forgot about that just now, but let's talk.
I feel for him because the first time I saw the Canadian Destroyer, I went,
What?
How? What? I remember replaying the video frame by frame by frame by frame to go, okay, so he, then the other guy, and I still didn't understand how it worked.
I was working a match with Pentagon, right? Yeah, he does. Yeah,
Penta Zero Muro.
Yeah, it was Pentagon at the time.
Yeah.
And we're putting it together, and he's like talking to me about this match. And like, he's like, yeah, but there's a destroyer
His English
here.
isn't that great, so
No,
how does he
it wasn't
describe
bad.
it? Oh, he
It
knows?
wasn't bad.
Okay.
Yeah. But like, I'm understanding it, but I'm
Yeah.
like, is there a language barrier here? Or is he telling me I'm going to be giving him the Canadian Destroyer twice? And I'm like, and he's
You're
like,
going to give it to him?
Yeah, that's what he was talking about. I'm like, wait, I'm giving it? I don't know. I mean, okay. I changed it. But I let him give it to me, and it hurt. Oh, it could have been a finish if I didn't get my foot on the ropes. But I protected it, because that's what you do. You protect moves that are super cool.
Did you see that people made a big deal out of your comment on the news story about Marco Stunt getting released?
What did I say?
You were basically like,
Oh,
yeah,
be a man and fire him.
yes.
Am I wrong?
Well, I think that you're looking at it like as a sports-centric thing. Like, if this is sports-centric, if you play for an NBA team or an NFL team, you get cut. That's just unfortunately how it works in pro sports. And you're saying if there's going to be cuts, then
Just do it.
Make the cut.
You can't be everybody's friend in business. And as a boss, I think like you kind of have to wield the hammer sometimes.
And I seemed here that Marco was unsure of what might have been happening, and it sounds like his texts weren't getting responded to.
That sucks. You know what? And then sometimes no response is a response. And this
is like
that's
dating
one thing,
advice now.
Yeah, that's one thing too, that as I assume whatever scene role I have now, czar of nonsense, leader of the
New business
leader of
card
the
title.
CYN catastrophe. I try to get back to everybody because there's nothing worse, and this happens all the time, even as a top level talent. And I can't fucking stand it, and I can call many people out on this, but it's like you pitch and you put your heart and soul in this pitch and this idea that is created to generate money for you, your company. Time, effort is put into a clear direction. I think all this could work. I'd love to hear your feedback, and if you say yes, great. If you say no, I accept it. But if you don't respond, I get so fucking mad, because just have the courage to say no. Just say no to people. And the same thing as being a boss. Just have the ability, like, you can't be everybody's friend. And it sucks, man. It sucks to hurt someone's feelings. I don't even pay, and I had to fire a talent. And it was heartbreaking. Heartbreaking.
You don't pay your talent?
Well, we do now. We're making money. But at the time, like, we had no financial, but I had to let him go for the time being. And it was a horrible feeling. But I had to give him the clarity, so he knows, okay, I can move on. And like the fucking mentality of ghosting somebody you're in a relationship with, it's okay to say no. It's okay to say no. Is that good?
That was great. We're almost at. I said it would be 40 minutes, and we're almost exactly at 40 minutes here.
Keep going.
Do you remember the last question that I asked you on the last podcast? I end every conversation with
I
this.
don't. Shit.
No, and when I say it, you'll go, "Oh yeah, that one."
Yes, I will.
I live in a state of gratitude all the time. I think it's so important to focus on the things that are happening in your life rather than focusing on the things that you don't have in your life.
That's so good.
So I end every conversation asking my guests, what are 3 things in your life that you're grateful for?
I am grateful for health because I felt for a minute what it felt like being taken away. And I'm like, oh, geez, this is ain't good. I can't be more grateful than I am for family. See, I'm getting all choked up. You son of a bitch. Yes, I mean, my family means everything.
On your day
to
of
me.
birth.
On my day of birth, Mom and Dad. And I'm sure we come back to a phone of messages from them, but they mean everything to me. But final thing might get me is I'm thankful for everybody within Control Your Narrative. From our new television partner, to my best friend and partner, JC, to the Titan with the swollen throat that couldn't come here to speak today.
Braun Strowman?
Yes, Adam Scherr, who's a Titan now. To each and every talent that have found trust and leadership in me, it's a burden. It's not a burden, it's a responsibility to owe them a lot. And
It's a Durden.
Yeah.
It's a Durden.
It's a Durden. Oh, here he is again. Here's Tyler Durden. But I got a few messages from some of the guys, especially the young up-and-comers, who were like, happy birthday, dear leader. And I'm like, yeah.
Does it feel like a cult?
In a way, which I love. But then my response is, well, thank you, but I'm not your leader because you are the leaders you've been waiting for. You're your own leader, If I could show them that, maybe I led them to that, but in theory, they are their own leaders. So I like that quote.
Control your own destiny.
Yeah, maybe your narrative too. Yeah. What a tricky word narrative became. But I'm thankful for everybody that made this possible to get here because the potential and the future and the upside is so high. And even if it came, even if cancellation, screaming halt, nuclear bomb blew it all up and is dust and residue and broken bones in my body and I am nothing left, at least I tried. And I'm thankful for that.
You're all in on this.
All in, man. It's the only way to be. It's the only way to get anything done.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, there's probably a million stories of people all in on things that have never panned out that you don't hear.
Then were they really all in?
Maybe not. But then, how many great success in not world-changing, but life-changing, or world-changing in a sense, stories are told because this person went all in with it and believed in it so much they carried it through.
That is literally every success story.
Every one of them.
From entrepreneurs to athletes to world
How
leaders.
many people you're selling sporting clothes out of your trunk? What do you got in that garage? A bunch of supercomputers? What are you gonna do? Deliver books? Fucking what happens?
Yeah. The Facebook.
Yeah. You like hot or not, you dork? No, but I know how to steal it and make it my own.
What if someone actually comes to the rage room and just wants to scream at you for 3 minutes?
I can listen to it.
And you just sit there?
Yeah.
And then you shake their hand when it's done?
I hope they feel better. Do you feel better?
They probably need a hug after that, actually.
We would a lot of this stuff we're doing and what we notice from the seminars and even before our narrative filming, the feature is it kind of became a support group for a lot of people. And it wasn't intentional, but that's what it's become. And if that's what the message that we can carry over to fans when they get past all the horse shit and bullshit and whatever, and I'm going to lean into it and I'm going to troll you a little bit and I'm going to poke you and you're going to scream at me and it's going to be cool. And then one day you're going to say I'm a genius or you're going to say I sucked really bad. And that's fine because whatever. But at the end of it, what we're creating is something more that's kind of beyond wrestling that hopefully brings people, whether they're together or whether they become their best self, they're in a better place for it. So that's the intent.
I like it.
I hope so.
We'll wrap it up on that.
That's good.
Happy birthday, my friend.
Shut up.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. All right, let's eat some gunpowder and hit it.
Let's do it.